What's up, y'all? Back out here doing some work, and I guess what I'm gonna do today, or start to do, is work on this oil pan here. These aluminum oil pans, they get corrosion or something on the surface after some time out in the weather, and they start to look like crap. So I think what I'm gonna do is go ahead and prime it, and then put some black paint on it just to clean it up, make it look nice. And we're also going to continue to work on the engine bay, try to clean up some of that wiring in there, make it look a little better, you know, because I'm sure you guys have been there where, you know, you go out to the garage one day, pop the hood, and you look in the engine bay, and it's just fucking wires going everywhere, and it just looks like a mess, and you want to do something about it. So we're going to try to do a little bit of that today. Definitely won't finish it today because there's a lot to do, but and then I got a couple parts that came in, so I'll show you that. And yeah, but let's get started, guys. All right, guys, this is what we're gonna do here. This is a Moroso kick-out oil pan. I think they call it their road race version. It's got some baffles inside. I'll show you later on once I get done painting it. Anyways, if you look, I scuffed most of it off, but you can kind of see it. See, like right there, stuff just starts to, the aluminum starts to oxidize, and it doesn't look very good. So you can kind of see it over here too, around the pan, how it oxidizes, and it just doesn't look good. So anyways, I took a Scotch-Brite pad, scuffed it up, and I'm gonna go ahead and wipe it down with acetone, get it nice and clean, and then I'm gonna spray it with some gray primer first, and then we'll finish it off with a couple coats of black. So let's go ahead and get started. Using some acetone to wipe it off with. Nothing special, just cheap gray primer.
true. And usually in there, George has, waved his magical wand over a lot of our cars over the years, and this is 1992. So, any rate, found a problem in the fuel pump, and we just went on a tear after that, and won us little points meets and some late finishes at the Nationals still, and that brought us up to 92 U.S. Nationals. Ran good friend and a couple-time world champs at the time, Sherman Adcock in the final there, and it was a rain-delayed event. Imagine that into the late night of Monday evening, maybe even Tuesday morning. It's probably still Monday night. Dark as could be, and ended up getting the win there. So felt great to get U.S. Nationals win and another eight-round race.
Right.
It was quite a tally there. There was a couple of guys that season. Kyle Seipel, as we mentioned, was having a heck of a year out west. Tom Seaman on the East Coast was
Is that the year that he won like 28 rounds in a row or something ridiculous?
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, exactly. And I think we had a stretch that probably mimicked that, and maybe a couple more to the
Yeah,
summer.
guys. Like I said, we're using
that's what it took that year.
just some high temp black,
That time was well
cheap
over
stuff,
7,000
and
to
first
win
color
the
coat's gonna be a little
championship.
light, just a
It
little
was,
dusting.
the
Get
dream come true
get your
for a kid
foundation
that,
put down.
just a couple years earlier.
If your
in
first coat you
college,
put on too heavy,
that's one of my
it's gonna
side
run
businesses.
almost always.
But,
So
what are
to
some of my
avoid the
goals?
runs, the first coat
Hard to believe some of my
you want to
goals
put
were
on
racing related,
light.
but,
Just kind of
most
dust
them
it on
were,
there
and probably still
kind
are
of give you
today,
I guess a
but,
guide coat almost.
to achieve some of those
And
goals.
then once you get that on there, just wait a minute or two, and then you can come back on a little heavier. And that way you won't get nearly as many runs that way.
And great careers.
All right, guys. Got her. Got the second coat of black on there, and she's looking all right. I don't know if you can see that stuff right there. That's not actually the paint. That's where the baffles that got welded to the bottom of the pan there. That's where they're welded all around in a circle there to keep the baffle open up in there. But overall, don't look too bad. It looks a lot better than it did with the oxidized aluminum. And once all this flashes off, I think it'll look even better. So, not too bad. Looks pretty good once you get it in the sunlight right there like that. So, I might hit it with one more coat in a couple minutes here. Let it dry to the touch, about a half hour, and then I'll bring her inside, and I should be able to get her inside before the next round of rain is supposed to come. So as you can see, it's pretty cloudy and overcast, and it won't be long before we get some more rain. So all right, guys, we'll go on to the next one here. All right. All right, gentlemen, there she is sitting on the motor, not bolted down, because well, I'll explain why I'm not going to bolt it down right this minute. She looks pretty good. I like it. I'm kinda over this Ford blue. It's just I think it just clashes too much with the red. And I'm gonna talk about that engine bay in a minute. But I'm simple. I like just kind of the blacked out look. I like that look. So more than likely the block's gonna be black. The heads will be black. And then these valve covers, I might stick them on there and see, if it, the two colors break it up a little bit, it might look okay. And we'll check it out, and if it does look good, we'll run it like that. But if not, that's powder coat on them, so it's kind of a pain in the ass to try to get that shit off. So, I don't know. We'll figure something out, but hopefully it'll look okay with the black and blue type deal. But anyways, pan turned out pretty good, I think. So, let me explain why I'm not going to bolt it down. I'm not going to bolt the pan down. Well, there's a couple of reasons. First one is decided to get some billet oil pump gears. You may or may not know, but the factory Ford gears in the oil pump are made from what's called powdered metal. Basically, powdered metal is poured into a mold. It's compressed, and it comes out of the mold in a green state, super soft. You could break it with your fingers. They take it from that point and they put it through a sintering oven, basically, which basically heats it up, and it makes all the metal molecules combine, and it forms a part. It's really inexpensive to do, so that's why Ford does it. It's cheap to make, and it's strong enough for a stock motor. It'll do fine on a stock motor. You don't got to worry about your 230 horsepower 4.6, breaking the pump gears. But once you start, making a little more horsepower, and especially if you're going to be on a two-step, on the starting line or out on the street or whatever, two-step, bouncing up and down off the limiter, on the limiter, off the limiter, that really takes a toll on the timing chains, the tensioners, the gears, all that shit. And the oil pump gears have been known to break. So, you fracture them on the two-step or whatever, and all of a sudden you're down almost to the finish line at the quarter mile, and snap, the gear breaks, you lose oil pressure, and by the time you get the motor off, and by the time you realize it, it's too late. You're turning 7,000 RPM, and the motor loses oil pressure. It's done. You smoked your cranks, probably junk, your rods are for sure junk, and other things could be wiped out. So just to be on the safe side, I ordered a Boundary billet oil pump gears. Okay, they're like $200, and it's cheap insurance. So obviously I've got to be able to pull the oil pump off to swap out the gears. So I can't bolt the pan down because of that. So next thing is secondary timing chains. The primary chains on the mod motors they're pretty good. They're pretty stout. You're really not going to have any problems breaking a primary chain. The secondary chain becomes an issue when you get larger cams with more lift, more duration, and when you put heavier springs in there, you kind of get a double whammy. You got more lift, bigger cam, and you got heavier springs that you got to try to open. That puts a lot of tension on that secondary timing chain. So you run into issues of breaking secondary timing chains. They snap going down the track, and all of a sudden valves are hitting pistons. And if it breaks a valve off, you can completely destroy a cylinder, destroy a head. It basically costs you a lot of money. So we're getting a set of Accufab secondary timing chains. They're heavy duty, man. They're considerably larger, thicker, more heavy duty than the factory Ford stuff. We are also getting a billet steel backing plate for the oil pump. The factory 4-valve oil pump, the backing plate on it is made out of aluminum, and at higher RPMs, when you're really putting the coals to this thing, that aluminum backing plate will flex, and it'll allow oil to leak out of the pump, and it'll also allow the pump to suck air. You don't want air, and you don't want a lack of oil at high RPM. So Accufab, I'm getting one of their billet steel backing plates to eliminate that issue. The next thing that we are getting is a billet throttle body from Accufab. We got one of them coming. And there's one more thing. Oh, the secondary timing chain tensioners. The passenger side tensioner. So if you're looking at the motor and it's sitting in the car in front of you, the passenger side, that secondary timing chain tensioner on that side tensions the chain from the factory on the wrong side, which is not a big deal on a stock horsepower motor, But like I said, once you start banging the two-step at 4,500, 5,000 RPM, or you're running this thing out 8,000 RPM, it really takes a toll on them chains. So in the aftermarket, they have corrected that issue of tensioning the chain on the wrong side, and they flipped the tensioner over and made a billet tensioner. I got that coming from Accufab as well, so we can eliminate that as an issue. And then we should be good to go on the timing setup. You know, the tensioners, the chains, the guides, all that shit's good to go. Our oil pump will be good to go. We won't have to worry about that. And yeah, so other than that, man, I once I get that stuff put on, I'll be able to bolt the oil pan and shit on, you know. So once I like I said, get all that stuff bolted on, we can put the pump gears in, put the new housing on the back of it, replace the secondary chains. I'm gonna have to well, I guess I won't have to, but I'll probably go ahead and clock these cams again, just to be sure that I didn't move anything. They should be fine, but I'll double check them just to be sure. And then we also got in that guy right there. Read that? Ultimate Converter Concepts. That's right. We got our converter in, guys. I talked to Lenny over at Ultimate, and I don't know, probably half hour, 45 minutes worth of talking, and he said, yeah, I can build you a converter that'll do exactly what you need. So I said, let's do it. So he built me a converter and got it. Shit, he got it to my door, and I don't know, it took about a week from the day I ordered it to the day it showed up. So that's where I'm at, man. I gotta wait till I got the chains and tensioners and shit will be here hopefully sometime early next week, and then I'll be able to get them thrown on. I'll show you a video of them. They're pretty trick parts, man, but definitely needed, definitely recommended if you're gonna be, you know, if you got a turbo mod motor, you're gonna be hitting off the two-step, or even a supercharged or a nitrous car, you're gonna be on two-step too. It's a good idea to upgrade these parts, man, because you'd hate to dump all this money into a motor and have, you know, a pump gear break or a secondary timing chain break and just destroy your entire operation. You know, all that money you put into it and it's gone in the blink of an eye because you wanted to save a few bucks. Like I said earlier, the pump gear is about $200, or is $200. The timing change and the secondary tensioners, depending on where you get them, they're they can be pretty expensive. Accufab's the most expensive shit, but it's the nicest stuff too. You can get them other places for less money, and and I'm sure they're good as well. I will say avoid the MMR stuff. Their tensioners are made out of aluminum, and that could be an issue. The good, name brand other stuff, it is made from billet steel, and it's kind of the top of the line stuff. So recommend going that way and avoiding MMR if you're looking for this stuff. So yeah, guys, there's that. The engine bay. The next thing, the engine bay. You can see on this harness, I've started wrapping it, to make it look a little better. I've only got, that portion right there done or started. I still got a lot of other shit to do. But at this point, I think I'm going to get rid of the Hydro Boost. Get rid of that. I can get rid of the Hydro Boost, all the lines coming forward for it, the pressure lines, the return lines, power steering, reservoir, the lines for that, the power steering pump, all the lines for that, and clean up all that shit. I don't need any of that stuff. And I can put a manual brake adapter on the firewall and a small, like 7/8 bore or 15/16 bore master cylinder, tuck it right up on the firewall and have all kinds of room. I still want to do tubular front half of this car, where I cut the front end off the car up with the shock tower, and then run tubes, to support the stuff out front. That'll just help clean it up, man. 'Cause that current point, this engine bay is just a clusterfuck. There's just shit running everywhere, and no rhyme or reason kind of shit, and it's just maddening. I want to paint it too. I want to get rid of this red. The red kind of looks like shit. I want to prime it, and paint it black, and kind of change up the color a little bit. Change up the color scheme, and black just looks, clean. I guess you get a good layer of black on there, and it just looks good. So that's the game plan. We are slowly moving along. Most everything's done on the interior. So we're just working on the engine bay out here right now. So, but that's kind of where I'm at, and that's where I'm going to leave this video at. And hopefully on the next video I will have the Accufab stuff in, and I will show you that. I'll show you a box opening on that, and we'll go ahead and get that stuff put on the motor, and we can get the motor and the transmission bolted up together and slide it in the car and get the measuring for our drive shaft, and get that, start getting that made and everything. So, but we got her in. That was a big chunk. That was about that converter was, what the hell was it, $12.95. Yeah, I want to say it was $12.95 plus shipping, so I think it came to about $13.25 or $13.30 was the total on that guy. So, all right, guys, I will catch you on the next one. All right, guys, I'll catch you on the next one. Get cleaned up here and get changed, take off my shop clothes here, and get something to eat. But stay safe out there. Hopefully the tracks are getting ready to open. It looks like it. We're on the upside of the slope, I guess. We're things are starting to loosen up as far as restrictions in my state, at least, and it looks good. It looks like we're going to be able to get some racing this year, so hopefully sooner the better, and we'll see you out at the track. But all right, guys, we'll catch you when the parts come in for that other stuff.